All right, welcome back. I wanted to do another Pro 86 or why Pro 86 video that was a little bit shorter than the last one. And I'm just going to jump right into it. For those looking to consider Pro 86, why? Well, the idea is that it meets these five principles. It's fun, has great value, it's sustainable, it's a modern platform, and then it's flexible, what you can do with it. So some key points here is that it needs to be fast enough and exciting enough to be inviting. And so you have to have a speed that's inviting and attractive to people who are getting into the sport, but you also have to have it be able to turn a lap time that is exciting or fast enough for people who are already racing to consider it. Thing I know, been racing for over 20 years. Most racers I know definitely don't want to go backwards in pace. So if they're even considering it, still has to be fast enough. But this is an engaging platform. It's fantastic. It's front engine, low center of gravity because that engine's nice and low and towards the firewall. And rear wheel drive, mechanical limited slip differential. You have your option for a manual or automatic transmission. And we have it in this class on nice wide 200 treadwear tires, which make it really fun to drive and have good slip angles. The value, this is a big part of the value because there's other classes out there where it might be pretty inexpensive to get into, but then by the time you realize what it's going to take to run up front, the cost consideration changes dramatically. This isn't the case with when I was in my ITA CRX, when I was in T4, it could be spec Miata, it could be Pro 3. So what's nice about this is that other than your roll cage, most of the parts can be bolted on in your own garage, and the build package is literally everything you're going to need to run up front. You will only be limited by your driving skill. If you do what we have on paper or recommend, that's it. There's no more gotchas. There's no, okay, well, you got into it for this price, but now you're going to need to spend $15,000 on an engine build, or you're going to have to convert to all these spherical bushings, and you're going to have to do all this stuff. Yeah, I remember doing that with previous classes, and it felt like a kind of a bait and switch. It was like supposed to be a cost-effective class, and it's cheap to get into. But once you really want to take it seriously and be competitive in it, you're like, why am I spending so much money? That's not the case here. The R&D has already been done, so you don't have to go figure stuff out. And everyone in this class is going to share the information, like, hey, here's what you need to do to go fast, and therefore it takes a lot of discovery off of your plate. And discovery in R&D is expensive. 200 treadwear tires, already talked about this, but the reduction in operating expenses isn't just a reduction in tire budget. I remember one year I did the runoffs. I had a $10,000 tire budget just for Hoosiers alone, right? Here you're going to buy one set of tires and potentially run the entire season on them. But because they're 200 treadwear, everything associated with the car lasts longer too. Wheel bearings, ball joints, tie rods, the whole shebang. And this car is reliable because all the drivetrain is stock. So no changing gears, no changing to expensive fancy differentials, no changing to no engine builds, no port matching, none of that. It needs to be a totally stock engine. We did make allowances in the rule set for certain things, though. We have a package for shocks and sway bars. We have things are pretty open for, relatively open for clutches, for camber plates, for suspension adjustment, exhaust, header, things like that. And some of those considerations were made because they helped drivers bring the weight of the car down so they could make minimum weight, or it helped made sure that there was a lot of options just in case somebody who chose a certain camber plate and that company doesn't offer them anymore, there's options to change. But then some options were limited. You wanted to have a spec shock spring and sway bar package because if you don't, then you can be in a situation where in order to be competitive, you're changing springs and changing sway bars per track. And that drives up operational expense because not everybody has the time and availability to do that. And then if you're paying somebody else to do that, that's just extra OPEX. Sustainability is great because there's lots of options, both in the aftermarket and at your local dealerships. And going back to the fact that we're operating a car within its OEM design tolerance, it means everything lasts for a long time. Your axles, your bearings, your joints. engine, drivetrain. So it makes it great for sprint and endurance racing. And heck, even you go to Toyota still, I think, today and get a fully prepped, assembled, ready to go short block for $1,900. Great, great value and sustainability there. And that it's a modern chassis. So this is a big deal because, once again, parts availability, aftermarket support, it's easy to work on, and heck, like you can plug in once you have the software done, you can plug in and it'll go, oh, this code means this, and you change this, and here's which one of your coil packs just failed, or whatever the case may be. So you get the modern diagnostics, so there's sensors on everything. And even like you can get another bumper on Amazon. Heck, we can buy our brake pads on Amazon for that matter. But so the availability and ease to work on stuff, to diagnose, to fix is fantastic. And the car has a wide appeal. It's an attractive car. It's fun to drive. It's pretty modern. So it's appealing from that standpoint. And then finally, flexibility. What can I do with it? Yes, I can run Pro 86 in conference. Well, also in conference, we'll be able to run in Group 5. We're submitting that rule change now. And also in Group 8 in Mini Enduro 2. I've done all the mini endurance races this year. I'm going into Portland at the end here to try to cap off the ME2 championship. We'll see how that goes. But it's just been fun racing all year long. You have the option to hop right over to STL and SCCA, because once you put on some 17x7 wheels and some Hoosiers, you're really close to being a pretty front-running car in SCCA, in STL. There'll be more stuff you could do. You could do a splitter, you can do a wing, you can do a few other things, but basically a set of wheels and tires with Hoosiers is a pretty competitive formula in SCCA. You have the WRL as well if you want to go endurance racing, and that same goes for Lucky Dog. This chassis will be available in Lucky Dog at some point, and here we are already on the same Hankook RS4 tire. So perfect crossover. So there might be teams out there that already do Lucky Dog today and they want to come do sprint racing. Maybe they do sprint racing and you want to go Lucky Dog racing. Fantastic, flexible class and platform. So that's it. I'm going to end there with the one last note to say that there's really no gotchas. And that's a big deal here. If you want to come into Pro 86 and you want to do a build that says, this is the build that I run up front with no hidden anything, we have the build sheets. I already have a video up that goes over a couple different scenarios for a more cost-effective build that's about 17 to a more expensive build that's about 27 that has, some parts that are probably more expensive than you need to spend, but nonetheless, all that data is available, and it makes it easy to build and be right up front, depending on where your skill is at. So anyway, we hope you'll join us. We hope you'll see us at the track, and if you have any questions, please reach out. Thank you.